And in a minute, I'm just going to try and share screen so you all will see the chapter for today. Give me a minute. Hare Krishna. So I hope the screen is seen clearly and I'm also audible. If you're
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes.
Great,
Yes.
great, great. Okay, so chapter 11. Now, what happened yesterday in chapter 10? Who's going to tell me what happened in chapter 10? Shirish. I don't think you've spoken. Let's give Shirish a chance, Mataji. Yes, Shirish.
Yes, sir.
What happened? What happened in chapter 10? Do you remember yesterday what we did?
I've unmuted you, Shirish.
Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji,
Yesterday. What happened?
yesterday,
Chapter 10. What was the Lord talking about?
so Prabhuji, the Lord was talking about how
About? Forgot. Between yesterday and today you forgot. Oh my God. The Lord was talking about his opulence. Yes. Remember the 82 opulences? We discussed some of them, how the Lord is there, prevalent in this entire world, right? How we can see him. So in today's chapter, like all of us, even Arjun wants dil mange more. Even Arjun has that dil mange more concept. Like how when we get something, we want, arey thoda sa aur, you know. So here when the Lord told Arjun about all the opulences, Arjun said, arey thoda dikha do na. What? Abhi, you've told me so much. I wish to see that. And then the Lord shows his Vishwaroop. Tan-ta-dan. All right. So we're going to discuss that today. When the Lord shows his Vishwaroop and what happens, what else is the discussion. Okay, but before that, we always start with a prayer, thanking our Guru Parampara for having passed on this great knowledge in a language that we understand. Yes. So Mataji, your call. Who's
Yeah,
turn?
Hari Priya.
Hari Priya. Great. Hari Priya, please lead us in prayers. Yes,
Hari
Hari Priya.
Priya. I've unmuted you. No. Okay,
I see Chandrika's hand raised.
I'll ask Chandrika to do that.
Yeah, I can see a hand raised. Others like.
I've unmuted you, Chandrika.
Are Chandrika, you're raising your hand and you don't want to speak?
Unmuted you. Little louder.
Can't hear you, Chandrika. Can't hear her, Mataji.
No, I think we'll have to give someone else.
Yes, yes.
Mishika. Yes, I've unmuted you.
Yes. Mishika, slowly and loudly, please.
Okay. I don't know. I can't hear.
Yes,
Om
Mishika, go ahead.
ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च रूपं साग्रजातां सगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं हरिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सगणललिता श्री विशाखावितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमः विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे.
Thank you so much, Mishika. Thank you so much for leading us in prayers. All right. So, chapter 11. Now, as I told you, Arjun wanted to see the roop and he said, please, can I see, what you've told me? Can I just get a view of that, a glimpse of that? Now, that's what, if you read the chapter, the verse which is in front of you, Arjun says, I wish to see how you have entered into this cosmic manifestation. I want to see that form of yours. Right? Now, we've discussed that earlier also, that Lord Krishna is the avatari and he takes different avatars, but the original form of Krishna is the two-handed form, the Shamsundar form, and then he takes multiple forms based on the need. It's like sometimes it could be nursing day, sometimes it could be something else, right? So Lord Krishna being the avatari, now Arjun, he's asking that he wants to see that form. Now kids, do you all think Arjun had a doubt? Arey, I don't trust you, meko dikhao. Do you think it's that way? Yes or no? In the chat boxes, quickly. Do you think Arjun had any doubt when Krishna said he's the Lord, he's the supreme controller? Do you think he had any doubt? Okay, let me see what the chat says. How many of you all think he had a doubt? How many say no? 1 minute. Okay, or everyone is saying no. He had no doubt. Then why did he ask the Lord to show? Tell me, why did he ask the Lord to show? Since everyone is saying no, only Mokshada says yes, he had a doubt. But even Anvi has a doubt. That Anvi says yes. Okay. Now tell me the others. If he didn't have a doubt, the ones who said no, then why did Arjun ask Krishna? Okay. Pia says he was curious. Soumya also says he was curious. He wanted more deeper answers. That's what Bhargavi says. Okay. And Daksh also says he was curious. Okay. But the actual reason is Arjun was a pure devotee. He had no doubt. But it was actually for the rest of the world to convince them who considered Krishna to be an ordinary person. So he did not doubt Krishna. Nor did Arjun think, Arey, main special, I'm your special friend, I'm your cousin. You show me your form. No. It was just for convincing the other people that Krishna is not an ordinary person, how you think him to be. That's the reason, excuse me, Arjun said, please show me. Because he knew in future what is going to happen. There are going to be so many fake gurus. Today, you know how many Babajis are there? How many people in today, if you do a Google search, you will find hundreds of people claiming to be Kalki Avatar. Really? They call themselves Kalki. And some of the Kalkis have died also. That's a different issue. So now, if anyone says, I am God, we should know, Arey bhaiya, show me your universal form. Then I will believe you. Right? It is for people like us. Because we knew in Kali Yuga, it was known that people will be very hypocritic. A lot of people will claim to be God. A lot of people will actually fool people in the name of God. And you see that happening. There are so many scams. There are so many people who claim themselves to be God and dupe people of money and, all the other things. So that's the reason. Now we know that there are two things. One, the Shastras always mention if the Lord is going to take an avatar. It's all mentioned, like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's avatar, which came just 500 years ago. was mentioned in the Shastras long back. So that's the reason we need to know that who's God? The one who can show the universal form, because everything is encompassed in the Lord, right? But then there was another problem. Can you see the Lord with normal eyes? Is it possible? Yes or no? Yes or no? It's not possible to see the Lord with normal eyes, okay? Now that's why the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, my dear Arjuna, O son of Pratha, see now my opulences, hundreds and thousands of varied divine and multicolored forms. So he tells him first only, boss, I'm going to show you my opulences and hundreds and thousands of my form. More importantly, what he says in the next verse, he says, O best of Bharata, see here the different manifestations of or everything that comes within him, the Adityas, the Vasus, the Rudras, the Ashwini Kumaras, all the demigods. As we've heard, he is the supreme. Everything comes from him. Lord Brahma came from the lotus navel. So that's what he's saying. See the different manifestations of all the other controllers, the Adityas, the Vasus, the Rudras, the Ashwini Kumaras, and all the other demigods. Behold the most wonderful things, most important, which no one has ever seen or heard before. Now that is underlined because, as you know, we've spoken earlier, Duryodhan ko bhi dikhaya tha when he went as a peacemaker, Lord Krishna. And before that, when he ate mud as a child in Vrindavan, that's when he had also shown a particular form to Mother Yashoda. But those were partial, you can say, manifestations. What Lord is saying, he's telling Arjuna, boss, what you're going to see, no one has ever seen or even heard of before. So what Duryodhan saw, what even Yashoda Maya saw, was minuscule, a tiny form compared to what Arjuna is going to see, right? But then Krishna tells that you cannot see me with your present eyes. It's impossible. You know, we all have defective senses, right? We've done that earlier. That our senses are not perfect. And therefore, I give you divine eyes to behold my opulences. Now, as you've seen in the left image, which we discussed earlier, the apple which looks full in the mirror is actually half. That is what our defective senses are. Now, look to your right and just keep looking at the image. For the next 30 seconds, everyone just keep looking at the image. Only focus on the image, everyone, all of you all, for 30 seconds, and then write in the chat boxes, what do you all see? For the next 30 seconds, only focus on the image. You can keep looking at it or put your head forward, back, and tell me what do you feel? The right side image. Okay, in the chat boxes now, quickly, let me hear. Picture is moving, Bhumika says. Anvi says it's dizzy. Rayan Patel says, I feel hypnotized. Okay. Okay. It's moving, Pratyaksha says. Yes. But actually, is it moving? Daksh says it's a tunnel. Saishri says it's a tunnel. Someone said it's dancing. It's a tornado, Prajwal says. So basically, this is what our senses are. Actually, it's just an image. You can see nothing is happening. It's a still image. But because our senses are illusioned, we feel like that. And can you imagine with these senses, is it possible to see Krishna? Not possible. So Arjun was also a human being. Of course, he was great in character, very, very, strong, much more in terms of sensibilities and all of that. But ultimately, his senses were defective. So that's what Lord Krishna is saying. You cannot see me with these eyes, right? So then what next? What next? Why cannot see? Because what is our tendency with the defective senses that we have? We tend to make mistakes. We cheat others, right? We have all these propensities. We've discussed this earlier, right? So that's why senses are defective. So what next needs to be done is 1 minute. Yes. Now, why I've shown these images is that even to see far, we cannot see far. Or even if we have to see something very minute, we cannot see it. We need a microscope to see something very tiny, and we need a telescope to see something. So we need device, right? Now, those devices are for material things. But if we have to see something which is not material, like how many of you all have seen a 3D movie, which is again a material thing? How many of you all have seen a 3D movie? Quickly in the chat boxes. No one? I have. Rasika says. Dhwani says yes. Okay, Giriraj also. You all have seen 3D movie. Now, when you go for a 3D movie, can you see it with your normal eyes? Can you? Yes or no? Can you see a 3D movie with your normal eyes? Tanishka says no. Mishika says no. Giriraj says no. Then what do you need to see a 3D movie? It's all blur if you see it with your normal eyes. Absolutely right. You need 3D goggles or 3D glasses. Yes, Moksha. Yes, Pia. Right. You need special glasses. So it means our senses are defective. Okay. Which we have seen from the apple, from the other image that we saw. We need assistance to see material things very small, very far, microscope, telescope, right? We need that. And we generally have the tendency to, be illusioned, make mistakes. So basically with these defective senses, you can't. That is the reason Krishna is saying, I'm going to give you divine eyes. Because it's impossible for you to see my divine form with these eyes. That's why Krishna says, I'm going to give you divine eyes. And with these divine eyes, you can behold my opulence. That's what Krishna says. Now, Krishna is giving Arjuna the divine eyes. But there was one more person who saw this particular form, and that was Sanjaya. Now, how did Sanjaya see? Sanjaya saw that because he also got divine vision with the help of Vyasdev blessings. He got divine vision. So Arjuna saw it thanks to Krishna and the divine vision given by Krishna. And Sanjaya, who was reciting the entire activities of Kurukshetra to Dhritarashtra, saw it with the help of the divine eyes and the blessings of Vyasdev. Okay. So now when Krishna starts showing his universal form. So we'll start reading. Who's going to read this for me? Now this is the beginning of the universal form and what all Krishna is showing. Mataji, please unmute someone to read this. And one by one, we'll give each one a chance to read some of these beautiful verses.
I'll give Priya a chance today.
Okay, Priya, please, can you read this for us loudly? Yes, Priya? If not Priya, then...
I've unmuted you, Priya.
Yes, ma'am. At that time, Arjuna could see in the universal form of the Lord the unlimited expansions of the universe, situated in one place, although divided into many thousands.
Yes. So the first thing that Arjuna was shown after he got the divine vision was the unlimited expansion of the universe. Now, universe is unlimited, right? But he saw it in one place. So it's divided into many thousands, but in one place. So that's what Krishna is showing. Like how, as a child, he opened his mouth and he showed the entire universe in his mouth. Something similar, but on a much larger canvas. Because this is a divine vision which no one has seen earlier. Krishna has not shown, or no one has even heard of this. That is what Krishna is showing Arjuna. All right. So that's what Krishna starts with. He starts showing that particular form. Right. Now, the next verse. Who's going to read that?
Dhwani, she wants to
Okay,
read.
Dhwani.
I've unmuted you, Dhwani.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Loudly and slowly. Loudly and slowly.
Arjuna said, My dear Lord Krishna, I see assembled in your body all the demigods and various other living
entities.
I see Brahma sitting on the lotus flower as well as Lord Shiva, and all the sages and divine serpents.
Serpents. Perfect. So remember in the beginning of the class we discussed Krishna is the avatari and everything else is avatar. And earlier we've also discussed that he's the creator, everything is inside him. That's exactly what he's showing. All the demigods, all the living entities, the creator himself, that's Lord Brahma, who comes from the the navel of the Lord Shiva, all the sages, everything is there. Everything is seen within him. What he said earlier is what he is showing. Okay. Now the next two important verses. First is the one to the left. What next? So basically, kids, what we are reading is the phase-wise vision of what Arjun is showing and what Krishna is showing. Arjun is seeing, sorry, and Krishna is showing. Fine. So first the entire universe and all the aspects of the universe inside. And then all the controllers of the universe, all the different designations, all of them are within Krishna. Then the next thing that Arjun sees. Yes, who's going to read that?
Sumit.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
The left side of the screen, Sumit.
Yeah. All the sons of Dhritarashtra along with the allied kings and Bhishma, Drona, Karna, and our chief soldiers also are rushing into your fearful mouth, and some as he trapped with heads smashed between your teeth.
Oh my God. Now what is he seeing? He's seeing all the opponents, right? And opponents maybe who all? Bhishma, Drona, Karna. Those kind of Maharathis, they were like, Bhishma was unconquerable. Drona was like the strongest guru. Karna also was so strong. But what did he see? He said, all of them are rushing into Krishna's mouth. And they are seen and their heads are being smashed in between your teeth. My goodness me, what kind of a vision that would be. All right. Now the right hand side, further on. Yes, who's going to read that?
Tanishka.
As the many waves of the rivers flow into the ocean, so do all these great warriors enter blazing into your mouths.
Yes. So now that's a comparison Arjuna is giving. Now you see the picture and there you see so many rivulets coming and merging into one big river or the ocean. Yes, in the picture that you see so many of them. Now similarly, now just visualize, okay, something similar where there is this big mouth of Krishna, which is like fiery, and all these hundreds and thousands of soldiers and chief officers are all entering Krishna's mouth. Now that is what Arjun is seeing. Even before the battle, he's seeing them get into Krishna's mouth. Okay, next.
Naman Pandey. Naman, I've unmuted you.
So, Naman, now after all this is seen by Krishna, what after all this is seen by Arjun, I'm sorry, this is what Krishna is telling Arjun. Okay, this is what Krishna is saying. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Naman, go ahead.
Yes, Naman, I've unmuted you again. Yes, Naman, unmuted you.
Bhishma, Jayadratha.
No, one to the left, top left. Naman, top left. Naman, top left.
Sorry, the Supreme
Mataji, Naman is not heard.
Yeah, I give to Mrunmay.
Mrunmay, yeah.
you, the past, all soldiers here on both sides will be slain.
Okay, that also wasn't very clear. Anyway, I'm audible clearly, right? So I'm going to just read this important verse out. Now, after Arjun has seen, what Krishna is telling Arjun is that time I am the great destroyer of worlds. And I have come here to destroy all people with the exception of you, the Pandavas. all the soldiers here on both sides will be slain. Now, Krishna is talking about himself or one of his energies, which is time. All right. Now, kids, we read history, right? And history, we hear about various dynasties, right? There was a Maurya Empire, and then there were the Mughals who came, and then there were the British who had colonies all over the world. Now, if you see over these whatever few hundred years that we've discussed about, say, the Mauryan Empire or the all of them ruled for a particular time, but then time is the greatest destroyer, because nothing absolutely can sustain forever. Whatever that you see around, there is a particular life or a time span that it has, right? You may feel you're on top of the world, but that's for a particular time again. So Krishna is saying, that is me, and I am the destroyer of the worlds. And why have I come here? Basically to destroy. Now, Krishna has said that I come for 3 reasons, right? Who's going to tell me the 3 reasons why Krishna comes, appears in this world? One of the reasons he's mentioned over here. Who's going to tell me the 3 reasons? I want to see whether what I'm saying is registering or no. So please tell me. Mataji, let's give someone a chance who's raising their hands.
I can see Mishika. Let's see who else. Okay, Arushri.
Okay, Arushri, yes.
Yes, I've unmuted you.
Drona, Bhishma, Jayadratha,
No. Basically, I want to know the 3 reasons why Krishna appears. One of them is given in this top left section, where Krishna says, I'm the greatest destroyer of the worlds. The 3 reasons why Krishna appears. I want to know that, Arushi. Do you know that?
1 minute.
Okay, I'll give Mishika.
Yeah, then we'll give Arushi a chance to read. Mishika, yes, go ahead.
First reason is that he comes to protect his devotees. Second, for establishing dharma. Third one, he comes to
It's given in this verse only. It's given in the top left.
Yeah,
Who is he going to destroy over here? He's going to destroy all the evil people who are there, except the Pandavas. Right? So that's the 3 reasons why Krishna appears: to protect his devotees, to establish dharma, and to destroy the miscreant, which is what is mentioned over here. Now, what Krishna basically did is he made sure everyone is there right at the Kurukshetra war. Right? Everyone who was on the side of Adharma is right there, and they all will be slain. Yes, now let's give Arushri a chance to read further. So after Krishna says this about himself, the next important verse is what Arushri is going to read. Yes, Arushri, go ahead.
Yes,
the
I've
Drona Bhishma
unmuted
one.
you.
Yes.
I've unmuted you.
Drona, Bhishma, Jayadratha, Karna, and the other great warriors have already been destroyed by me. Therefore, kill them and do not be disturbed. Simply fight and you will vanquish your enemies in the battle.
Yes. Now Krishna is clearly telling Arjun, you know what? All these guys, all who are there on the side of Adharma, and he names key ones: Drona, Bhishma, Jayadratha, Karna. They've already been destroyed by me. Before the war starting, they are standing right there. Krishna is telling him, boss, they've already been destroyed. So kill them, don't be disturbed. All right, you simply fight and you will vanquish the enemy. So what Krishna
You're not audible, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes,
Prabhuji, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, we cannot hear you.
Prabhuji, we
Your
cannot
meeting
hear
has
you.
frozen.
Prabhuji, we
And we
can't
can't
hear
hear.
you. You're stuck. Prabhuji, we cannot hear you.
Prabhuji, we can't please, he will be there. He will be there. Please.
Hare Krishna, Pranam, Prabhuji. We can't hear you, Prabhuji.
He'll be there. He'll be there.
He
has
left.
some audio.
He left the meeting.
Yes, Mataji, he left the meeting.
Okay, Hare Krishna, children, until Vishal Prabhuji joins us. Does any one of you want to say something about today's learnings? You have to raise your hand and then Lekha Mataji will unmute you. Okay, what were the, so why did, there was some, there, I think, I don't know how many times Prabhuji just repeated that. Today there was a question he posed. Why did Krishna come to this world? Does somebody want to answer that question?
I've unmuted Tanisha.
Okay, Tanisha.
My name is Tanishka.
Tanishka, okay.
The Lord has 3 reasons to come
Yes,
in this
Prabhuji.
world.
Oh,
Okay.
really? Okay, I'll make you the co-host. Wait, okay.
Okay, so until he comes in, we'll hear Tanishka quickly. Yes.
He comes for saving his devotees. He comes
Okay.
for establishing the dharma. And he comes to annihilate all the miscreants.
Very good. So we have Prabhuji joining us now.
Hare Krishna, I'm having some connectivity issues. Just give me a second. Yes, Hare Krishna, am I seen and heard?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Sorry, I'm having some connectivity issues. I don't know what. I'm going to share the screen again. Okay, so as I was telling you all, that Krishna first gives the divine vision and he shows the universal form, right? And in that universal form, when Arjun sees everyone getting into his mouth, he's a little baffled. Now, Krishna understands that, all right? So he thereby explains to him, listen, all these people have already been killed by me. Just become an instrument and just do what I'm asking you to do. Now, when Arjun sees and hears that, right, what is his reaction? That is there in front of the screen. And now Shirish has raised his hand. I guess he wants to read this. Mataji, let's
Yes,
give
I'll
Shirish
give him this.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thinking of you as my friend, I have
rashly.
rashly addressed you, O Krishna, O
O Yadava,
Yadava, O my friend, not knowing your glories.
right?
Please forgive whatever I may have done in madness or in love. I have
Dishonored
dishonored you
you
many
many
times,
times
jesting
as we
as we relax, lay on the same bed or sat or ate
together
together, sometimes alone and sometimes in front of my many friends. Oh,
infallible.
infallible one, please excuse
Excuse me.
excuse me for all those
offenses.
offenses.
Okay, now what is Arjun trying to say over here? Now, basically, he saw the form, and it was a form no one has seen earlier. Now, obviously, when you see something like that, you're in awe, you're in bewilder, you're in happiness, amazement, all of these words together and more. That is what Arjun's halat was. And then he realized, oh my God, this is Krishna. What I'm seeing now. And what did I think all this while? He was my cousin, my friend, my, same age group. And how amongst cousins, you all are like, chhod, this, that, you pat someone on the head, you play some tricks, you do some masti, right? That's what typically happens in between friends and cousins, right? So till that time, that's what Arjun was thinking about Krishna. He's my close friend, and that's the reason he's now realizes, galti ho gaya, baba. So first he's saying, please forgive me. Because in madness or in love, I would have done some things which shouldn't be done. So he realized that, and that's why he's asking for forgiveness. Ki Baba, please forgive me. I made this mistake, right? He didn't need to, but this is what a pure devotee is. He is always in surrender, always very humble. Now, Krishna allowed him to do all that. Why? Because Krishna loves him. He's a pure devotee and his everlasting companion. Okay? Chalo, let's move further. What next? What did the Supreme Personality of Godhead say? Who's going to read this?
Sai Shri.
Okay, Sai Shri.
No, we can't hear you, Sai Shri.
Can't hear her, Mataji. Some issue.
Yeah.
Here,
Yes.
the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "My dear Arjuna, happily have I shown you by my internal potency this supreme universal form within the material world. No one before you has ever seen this primal form, unlimited and full of glaring and
Effulgence. Yes. So now again, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna is repeating that. Okay, Arjun, relax. Don't be so, boggled down. I have shown you this with my happily, out of love. And I'm again telling you, no one has seen this, but I am showing you this particular unlimited form of entire effulgence purely out of love. And I told you, you need that divine vision, and that comes with love. All right. Now, when it comes to divine vision and love, I'm going to tell you all this wonderful story. But before that, someone can just read the translation of the next verse. And then I will tell you this beautiful story of what true love to Lord is and how the Lord reciprocates. All right. Now, this story, which I'm going to tell you, is a few hundred years old. Now, Arjuna's case was 5,000 years ago, right? And it was a different yuga. I'm going to tell you a Kali Yuga story. Yes. So who's going to read that out, Mataji, as you feel right?
Harshan. We can't hear you, Harshan. No. No, we can't hear you. Okay, we'll give someone else.
Yes.
Dimple.
Yes,
Dimple,
ma'am.
I've unmuted you. Yeah.
Translation. My dear Arjun, only by undivided devotional service can I be understood as I am.
Yes. Now, it's very
Thank you.
important.
for
Very
giving me-
important what Krishna is telling Arjuna, that only by undivided devotional service can I be understood as I am. And we have seen that earlier in various chapters, that devotion, undivided, how Krishna is a bhavagrahi, he sees your feelings, right? And that's the reason we spoke about Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam also, that what you offer is not important, but the love and devotion matters, right? That's again repeated here, that only by undivided devotional service can I be understood as I am. So similarly, in the earlier chapter, we just discussed that Bhagavad Gita will not be understood by purely, learning up the verses or just reading it many times. No, it is the love with which you read and the surrender with which you read, then Krishna reveals himself. And that's what he's saying here, that if there is that undivided devotional service that I see, then I will make you understand myself, or you will understand me as I am. Now, the story that I'm going to tell you is, okay, before that, how many of y'all recognize this deity? This deity that you see? How many of you all recognize this deity? Let's see in the chat if anyone recognizes. If you don't, it's okay, no big deal. But I'm just out of inquisitiveness, I want to know if any of you all recognize this deity. No? No one has ever been to Mangalore, Udupi? No? Okay, fine. So this deity is of Udupi Krishna. There's a beautiful temple. That's the deity of Udupi Krishna. Now, the story of this temple is absolutely amazing. So, a few hundred years ago, there was this temple and this beautiful deity was there and extensively worshipped, and all the best paraphernalia and all was always there. And there was this one real devotee. His name was Kanakadas, right? But he was a Shudra. Now, unfortunately, in India, in Kali Yuga, what has happened is people have been classified based on, the caste, which is not the original classification. That is not, and that classification is as per birth, right? If you're born a Shudra, you are counted a Shudra, but that's not what it is supposed to be. I think we discussed that initially. It's not by birth, it's by action, what you do. So this Kanakadas was a born Shudra. Now, he was born Shudra. Now, Shudra means what? Those Brahmins who ruled that temple said, no, you cannot enter the temple. But Kanakadas had that undivided devotion and love. He would always be chanting the name of the Lord, always be just, completely immersed. Now, because he could not go and see the Lord, what he would do? Now, there's a temple, there's a door, and you go in and you take darshan, right? Straight, deity, darshan, and out. Now, this Kanakadas, because he was not allowed at the entrance, what he did is he went around the backside of the temple and he would be there and he would just touch that wall and he would do internal darshan, and always be lost and immersed and keep chanting the name of the Lord. Now, this went on for quite some time, but he was just not allowed inside. One day, believe it or not, the deity, which was like this, decided to turn around completely like this, right? Just turn around completely like this. Why? Because Kanakadas was on that side because he was not allowed entry. So when the pujaris and all, they came in, they saw the back of the deity and everyone was like flabbergasted. What is happening? How is this possible? And on the back side, when they saw Kanakadas, and they all knew that they were the ones who had stopped him from coming inside, right? And that's the reason the deity turned around. They understood what big blunder they had committed and how exalted a devotee Kanakadas was. Everyone fell down at his feet, and there was a special. So now then they turned and they made the darshan only from that side. And even today that window is there where Kanakadas would stand and take darshan. So Udupi Krishna, if you'll ever go to Mangalore, it's very close to Mangalore, which is the closest airport. It's a beautiful temple and this beautiful story is there, which brings out the highlight of this verse, which is only by undivided service can I be understood as I am. And again, this reinforces the fact, kids, that Krishna can do anything for his devotee. Anything. Like later on, once the yudh starts, we've seen how Krishna is willing to break his own vow. When Arjun is about to be killed by Bhishma that day, Krishna says, "Bhaad mein gaya mera vow. I don't care about myself. My vow is gone. No problem." But Arjun cannot be killed. So he can go to any extent basically for his devotees. Now, I'm repeating what I've said earlier. The chapters that we're doing now are the essence, because what lies in between these chapters that we're doing is bhakti, right? As we've discussed earlier, in the burgers that you have or a sandwich, the middle part, the filling is the essence. That's what gives you the real taste. Or if you have an expensive diamond, you will keep it safely in a box, right? You wouldn't just leave it out. Similarly, bhakti is very beautifully put in between the Bhagavad Gita for you all and for all of us. These 6 chapters which we're doing currently, and all of these verses that you see, what is being brought out? Devotional service. How you surrender to the Lord, how the Lord reciprocates when you surrender to him. That is what is discussed. Okay. Now the question begins. Again, we've discussed it earlier and I'm repeating. How do we begin devotional service? Simple. The simplest way to begin devotional service is to loudly chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, not once, but many a times. And the best thing is we've learned you can chant anytime, right? You can chant anywhere, right? You can chant at home, outside, you can chant singular, sitting alone in a family, whenever, right? So now that we're together, let's put our hands together and again loudly go. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. This is the beginning of devotional service, right? Bhakti begins with your tongue. That's what Srila Prabhupada, our founder Acharya of ISKCON, has said, that chanting Hare Krishna is the beginning, and then the other activities follow, which is honoring Krishna Prasad. We've discussed that earlier also, that we should offer something or the other to the Lord. Patram Pushpam, we discussed that. And before we eat anything, we should offer it to the Lord. So let's begin our devotional service. Many of you all are chanting, but for those who are not, make sure you get yourself a bead bag, beads, anytime, no restrictions. Even when you get up in the morning, you haven't had a shower, just brush, wash your face, and sit. It's a great time in the morning because everything is calm. There's not too much of noise in the house, no doorbells ringing, no phone bells ringing. So this is the beginning, right? And then once you start with the tongue and with the prasad, then you can do devotional service with the eyes. And that is possible by seeing the beautiful form of the Lord. Now, unfortunately, in the lockdown, we cannot go to the temple. So we can't take darshan in the temple, but the other way is you have an altar at home. If not that, the temple has made possible online darshan, right? So you can have Radha Gopinath's darshan online for the time being, at least for the next couple of months, right? Whenever possible, the next thing that we offer. So basically all our senses, right? Who's Krishna? Another name for Krishna is Rishikesh, right? Rishikesha. And what does Rishikesha mean? Master of senses. So if he's the master of senses, we're going to engage our senses in serving him. That's what devotional service is all about. So we saw the tongue, how it can be engaged, how our hands can be engaged, and how our feet can be engaged is by walking or going to temples, taking darshan whenever possible, right? Our tongue can be engaged by eating prasad and also chanting the holy names. Hand can be engaged in devotional service by cooking some prasad. I had given that as a weekend activity to you all. Whoever can in this summer holiday, please, please, please get some time out. Do make some prasad for Krishna. I know you all offer Patram Pushpam Phalam, but if you can make something, it's brilliant. It's great. All right. And then the next senses that we have is the ear. And how can we hear? Like we're doing devotional service now because we're hearing about Krishna. Now, hearing about his name, his fame, his glories, his pastimes is all under devotional service. Prabhupada said, any of these and all of these come under devotional service. And I have also told you earlier, there's this beautiful machine, which is the Mahamantra machine, which you can just plug into your house, put it in a corner and it will echo everywhere. So that divine vibration of the Mahamantra and in Prabhupada's voice will keep coming into your ears, right? And we've seen the benefit of chanting. It reduces stress. It makes you calm. You can think better. So that's how we saw how all our senses can be engaged in the service of Krishna. Right? Now, who's going to summarize the 5 senses and how we can use it quickly? Today's activity and discussion is summary of how we can use the 5 senses.
I've unmuted Radhe.
Radhe? Yes, Radhe?
Hemraj, yeah.
Prabhuji, my name is Radhni.
Radhni, okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so with our eyes we can see the beautiful form of Sri Krishna.
Where?
In temples.
Or if you cannot go to the temple, then
We can online also we can see.
yes, online also you can see. Perfect. Okay, then next sense.
Next is foot.
Foot. Okay, how will you use the feet in his service?
Feet we will use by Prabhuji. Sorry, I didn't remember it.
No problem. Now we'll have someone else come in. Okay, no problem. Absolutely fine. So let's give Sumit Deepak Rathod. I can see him raising his hand and shaking his hand. Sumit Deepak
Okay, I've
Rathod.
unmuted you, Sumit.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
The legs. How will you use the legs,
Prabhuji.
Sumit, in the service of the Lord?
Yeah, with the feet we can go to the temple and do
Ah.
circulation of the temple.
Absolutely right. With the legs, you can go to the temple of the Lord. Beautiful. Thank you, Sumit. Okay, who's going to tell next?
Harsh Patel.
Harsh.
Yes, Harsh, I've unmuted you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
Use our tongue to chant.
You can use your tongue to chant. Yes, very good. And what do you chant, by the way?
Chanting the Maha Mantra.
What is the Maha Mantra? Can you tell me?
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, next.
Dimple.
Dimple, yes. Which other sense you're going to tell us about, Dimple, which we can use in the service of the Lord? We've covered 3.
Dimple, I've unmuted you.
Hands, like
Hands,
offering
okay.
bhoga and cooking for Lord.
Offering bhoga and cooking for the Lord. Wonderful. Have you done any of that, Dimple, over the last couple of days?
No, Prabhuji.
Please do, Dimple.
Because I like over here I'm not having any the weekends.
No problem. You have Patram, you have Pushpam, you have Phalam. All right. So at least make sure that is offered. Okay.
Yes,
Thank you
Prabhuji,
so
try
much.
and weekend to me.
Yes, Dimple. Okay.
Every day.
Who's next? Sorry, I didn't get your name.
For the Lord before eating.
I'm sorry, I didn't get her name, neither her answer. No problem. What did
Prabhuji,
you
can
say
I
once
say one
again?
more? Prabhuji, can I say one more?
No, beta, let this other child say. I didn't hear.
Krishvi.
Krishvi, yes, Krishvi. Which other sense you're going to tell us about in the Lord's service?
We should serve the food to Lord.
But we did food. What other sense is left? See, which all did we cover? Think we covered hand, we covered legs, we covered eyes, we covered tongue. What is left now? One more important sense of ours. See, look at my face. Something is left. Is something left or no? Something is left. I can't hear you. Is something left?
I can.
I can't hear you. What is left? Which sense is left? I'm giving you a hint. Ear. Oh, yes, ear. Yes, the ears. How will we use the ears, Baba? Tell me.
To hear anyone.
To hear what, beta?
To hear anything.
To hear anything about what? About the Lord. Right? To hear the Maha Mantra. And remember, I told you, you can get this lovely machine which you can put in your house, which plays the Maha Mantra all the time. So you can keep hearing Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. All right. If you keep hearing that, you will feel better. You will study better. You will think better. Everything will be better because that is the best. Okay. So we come towards the end of chapter 11 today, kids. Thank you so very much. It was wonderful discussing this chapter. So the Lord spoke about his lavishness and his opulence, and then he finally showed that opulence to to Arjun. Right? Now, what's going to happen next? As I told you, the key to bhakti is in these chapters. So tomorrow, what we're going to do, chapter 12, is the closing of the bhakti part of the Bhagavad Gita between 7 and 12. And also it is like the epitome of bhakti, right? The chapter 12 that we're going to discuss tomorrow. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Thank you so very much. And if Mataji has logged in, maybe we can do a shloka.
No, Prabhuji, she's not there.
Mataji has come in. Okay. So then probably tomorrow we will do a shloka also, kids. All right. Thank you very much. We can unmute everyone so that they can loudly chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Mataji, just unmute everyone. Okay.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Rama, Hare Hare.
Thank you so very much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, kids. See you all tomorrow. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Bye. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.